Hello, my name is Michelle Stack, and I'm an associate professor at the University of British Columbia, and I recently published a book about university rankings. A few years ago, I noticed that at almost every meeting I went to, a university leader would say something like, "We have reason to celebrate, we're up in the rankings." I began to wonder, what does being a top-ranked university mean for students? And who decides what and who is world class? Finding the right university is an important decision. The question is, can rankings help you make that decision? There are many to choose from. There are at least 12 rankings that claim to be global, and there are over 150 national and specialty rankings. But are these rankings that different, and can you trust what you see? I'll focus on what's often called the Big Three rankings. There's the Times Higher Education World University Rankings that are part of a large media company, the QS ranking, which has a number of products in higher education, and the ARWU, Academic Ranking of World Universities, published by the Shanghai Ranking Consultancy. It was the first of the Big Three. All have spin-off products. For example, universities can pay QS to be considered for QS stars. For all three, publications written by faculty in English are central to being highly ranked. And all three use one or two major citation indexes to determine research productivity. Because they focus on English, a lot of research in much of the world is not captured. Student-staff ratio and money spent per student are often used as proxies for a focus on students. Well, this seems like a good way for students to measure the attention they'll get at a university, but there are some inconsistencies in how money spent on students is calculated. For example, some universities have been accused of counting water and electricity to calculate support given to students. Student selectivity is important for many rankers, including the QS and the Times Higher Ed. Some universities have encouraged students to apply, knowing they'll most likely be rejected. Having high rejection rates is seen by many rankers as a sign that a university is world class. QS and the Times Higher Ed also measure the number of international students. This is also seen as a proxy for quality. The more that students want to come, the better a university is assumed to be. Faculty with Nobel Prizes and Fields Medals are key to a good ARWU ranking. Money from industry is important and is measured by some rankers, including the Times Higher Education. Reputation surveys are key to a good QS and Times Higher Ed ranking, and many other rankings as well. This indicator is criticized for being biased to universities with the cash to keep themselves constantly visible in media and through sending out glossy materials to those filling out ranking surveys at the time rankers send the survey out. So, what do rankings ignore? Rankings don't measure student debt and poverty, which is increasing in much of the world. Safety on campus is not measured. Rankings don't measure how a university deals with sexual violence on campus. 157 universities are under federal investigation in the U.S. for how they deal with sexual violence on campus. Rankings don't question what a university is actually doing to make a university safer. And some researchers argue universities are focusing more on attracting students and branding than actually improving education and safety for students. Racism is not measured. And some universities go to extremes to look diverse when they're not. For example, a highly ranked university photoshopped a black student in its marketing material to look more diverse. The student did not attend the university. Rankings do not measure what a university is actually doing to create more inclusive and equitable campuses. Rankings, many researchers argue, create conformity. Excellence is determined by narrow measures. When universities become fixated on these measures, they risk narrowing knowledge and the role they can play in expanding conversations about global issues. How universities engage with communities is also not measured, and how universities maintain their wealth is not included. Researchers point to cases where university leaders attempted to shut down academics who had research that was critical of an industry partner. So, who should you trust? Well, it depends on what's important to you. Rankings give you some information that you might find valuable, but choosing a university is a major life decision. Ask the university you're thinking of attending questions about what matters to you. Would you like to learn more about rankings? Visit my website at michellestack.ca.